So if you don't have FrostForm money, but you want frosting cakes to be quick and easy, I think I worked out a method to get really similar results at probably a quarter of the price for supplies. For clarity, I am not knocking FrostForm at all. Their products look fantastic, but also their prices just aren't for people in my tax bracket. So here's what I did instead. First, I got an 8-inch acrylic cake disc, an 8-inch roll of acetate, and a 6 to 12-inch expandable cake ring. I put the whole setup on a larger cardboard cake circle so that I could transport it to the fridge more easily. Then I made a batch of butter ganache. So stack the cake on the disc, then the acetate and the ring go around the outside. Make sure they're both wrapped around the disc and not just around the cake. Pull the ring as tight as it'll go so that the acetate kind of seals around the disc. Here's where I messed up a little bit on round one. First, I bumped the acetate when I started to pour the ganache in. So if you do that, recheck the acetate before you keep pouring, because I ended up with a leak and a mess. Second, I poured in too much ganache all at once. In hindsight, I would start with maybe a cup or two of ganache, like enough to get some around the entire cake base, and then check for leaks. If you see any, grab an ice cube, run it along the bottom edge of the cake ring. This will set the ganache at the base and it stops the leak. So after you have a layer of ganache at the base and you've checked for leaks, just pour until the edges are filled and the top is covered. Then the whole thing goes in the fridge. If your turntable won't fit in the fridge, and mine won't, put cardboard or a cake circle underneath the acrylic disc so that you can transfer the cake to the fridge without risking that acetate ring coming loose. It was dinner time at this point, so I had to take a break and get my family fed. Best I could tell by checking on it, the ganache was set in about an hour, but it was probably closer to like 2.5 hours before we were done with dinner and I could remove the cake ring and the ganache. And holy moly, this part was the most satisfying thing in the world. I had a couple of small gaps to fill. It took maybe 3 minutes. I spent a while fussing with the top of the cake. I probably wouldn't bother doing that again. It didn't make a big difference in the overall look. Butter ganache also pipes beautifully, and my 3-year-old helped me decorate with mini chocolate eggs and rainbow sugar pearls. So yeah, this method worked great. At the same time, an 8-inch cake took half of a Costco bag of chocolate chips, and it took 6 sticks of butter. So the next thing I want to get down is using this method with buttercream. On attempt 1, I couldn't get the frosting down to the cake base, but I'm going to give it another shot. I'll update with another video if I work the kinks out of doing this with buttercream. Please put any questions down in the comments, and I will catch you next time.